Avasti landlubbers, lock up your bootstraps and reclaim your solar panels, because today we've got for you some of the very best Beyond All Reasons currently available on the high seas of Delta Siege Dry Remake. Spawning on the eastern side, representing the blue team, it'd be none other than Ragnar himself, representing his mighty Viking crown. Worn atop the head of 62 true skill points. Definitely going to be showing us exactly how it's done on the hard-fought front lines of this dry desert sea. All the way across the map, spawning on the western side and representing the blood red team, it's going to be Flash. Already wearing that Armada armor with that tight little waistline, very nice. Going to be going into a bot lab here on the low ground, showing us how it's done. This is a really tricky map, and it's one that I always love to see the pros play. The pros seem to love this map as well. I always see games with 40, 50, 60 true skill players playing on this one, and I think it's because it's just one of those maps that's dynamic enough to keep it fresh every time, offers enough opportunities and enough positions to really let anybody shine in their element, but also is consistent enough that players feel like it's fairly balanced. And I think all that comes together to make it for a really, really good match to play some high-level Beyond All Reason, and I sure am excited. Flash already with a tick out on the map, and that is not surprising whatsoever. Flash well known for his excellent tick micro, some of the best in class. Definitely one of the players to pay attention to if you're an Armada commander like me, one of the very best to learn from. Flash also, long ago, this is way back in the archives, but long ago used to give me all sorts of trouble because the Blitz, which used to be named the Flash, was a popular unit that Flash would build, so I'd call the Blitzes the Flash, and the Flash was a Blitz, and it was a mess. Ticks are now running across the field. They've been well spotted by the blue team. Eventually, some units are going to move to intercept. These ticks should be well microed here. I would expect nothing less from the best here out of Flash. Somehow making these ticks engage in better fights. It doesn't even make any sense. The tick is so spelunky and random and janky, it's very difficult to control, but somehow Flash knows exactly how to move this unit properly to make sure he gets the absolute maximum value out with it. I think at this point Flash must have been scouting for a little bit of information. He does spy the commander of Red Panda Torkel, so that's nice. He knows at least who's on that lane here, but he didn't really get a view for exactly who's down south here, but he will now, as a couple of these rovers do move into range of this commander. Ooh, one of them will be killed. Light APM stall there as the rover will turn around and head back. It discovers that Flash is playing on the southern side here. Apparently that's all the information that we need here for Sensible and Sane, and so he is going to pull this rover back. Ragnar moving his commander forward with a transport that was handed out from the backline here. You can see Predator handing out air transports to whosoever should need them. And this transport doing a great job of getting that commander down to the low ground where, yeah, interesting. Ragnar's going to be going for a forward bot lab. Very interesting build. Going for the northern economy here. I say northern in relative terms to height here, as opposed to subjectivity on the map, but I suppose it describes that as well. Anyways, building big eco splotches up here on this hillside on the map, but then also moving the commander down south and using this area as the base of operations. Now 200 IQ Ural has moved forward with the commander transport as well and is going to set up a very aggressive front line here using these grunts and their longer range to try and gain some sort of an advantage here. Has to be so careful with those early T1 units though, because losing those is going to lose you this position almost 100% of the time. Fighter versus fighter here. Already a little bit of an air battle, but that was about as excellent an engagement as you could hope for right there. Predator's fighters taking, those are some flying aces right there, taking a fabulous trade, a fantabulous trade. Shooting down the fighters here of the pink player, light pink player, Decat. Excellently done. The hill is still contested. Looks like our green player draw meta are, well, they're scouting around with some of these ticks here, trying to find anybody who might be causing trouble. They don't notice that 200 IQ Ural is moving his commander around over here. Wouldn't mind seeing the commander park itself up on top of this hill, try and capture all those metal. Don't think that's a bad idea whatsoever. Panda Torkel and Trims getting into a little bit of fisticuffs over here, blasting down some light laser turrets, but Red Panda Torkel has done a great job of pushing these laser turrets forward, and it's going to deny 2 metal per second back to Trims' economy. Doesn't sound like a lot, but when it's, well, 6, what was that, about a third of your economy, more like a fourth of your economy, because the commander pulls in some metal per second as well. Yeah, it's definitely well worth it to try and push for it as much as you can here. Flash's Rocketeers here now giving Sensible and Sane quite a bit of trouble. Janice did go down. Pawns are looking for the engagement, but I doubt they're going to find it. And the Rocketeers are going to quickly melt away a lot of this static defense. A beamer turret is coming up here, 80%, 90%. Beamer turret is online, and that's just powerful enough to shoot down any of these Rocketeers that are firing forward. Just enough range, that is, in order to contest any of those. Back up north here, there's tons and tons of units out from Ragnus. Very expensive units, actually. We have thugs, we have aggravators. This is a very expensive army. Surprised we don't see res bots yet. One of those thugs does go down, and Ragnus using his commander to push forward here. 25 West 25, otherwise known as Wes, or the Hot Pink Wes. Going to be holding this northern high ground here, but he's taking some hits from the commander, or on the commander, rather. Aggravators very powerful, especially in the hands of some of these players like this. Ooh, moves the tanks a little bit too far forward. They will be disintegrated into atoms by the disintegrator cannon mounted atop Ragnus' right arm. Wes's commander is looking pretty low. Yeah, Ragnar really doesn't... Well, it's not that he doesn't want to lose these units, it's that he can't afford to lose these units, right? If he loses these, he loses his entire grip over this. Gonna re-rally some of these units over to the right-hand side. He does, or the northern side. He does see this little bit of a run-by trying to happen by Ural here. I think eventually this is gonna get shut down, though. There is a light laser tower. There is a couple of units. Eventually, forces are going to be pulled. Janus here. Ooh, that's a miracle connection right there. That's exactly the trade that we're looking for, but the Janus does go down, unfortunately, so that is going to be all she wrote. One shot out of the Janus, probably not efficient enough. And a couple of D-guns from the commander here, going to wipe away some of those grunts. That's always lovely to see. A little bit of an aggressive push here, but I think it's exactly what Ragnar wants, and now he can use this commander to push forward. He's got the aggression that he needs, and now reclaiming any of this wreckage field is just going to prompt further aggression. These Januses coming out of the lab, they're nice and all, but they're very slow, and reloading, of course, is their biggest weakness. Oh, Ragnar barely missing the D-gun there. Raiko transporting the commander forward. Interesting. More commanders in the field is exactly what everybody's thinking of. Raiko might be looking for a commander trade, but far be it from Ragnar to lose his entire army or even his commander to a single commander bomb here. But he does have to respect that there are now 3 commanders holding off 1, and, well, he will pull back here. Eventually, the numbers game will outweigh Ragnar's experience, but only by so much. Ragnar's still continuing the aggression. Lost Dead Man and Sensible Insane partnering up down south here. Those vehicles are going to eventually deteriorate Flash. These vehicles are coming out of the backline position, so usually this player goes for a little bit more eco, a little bit of a more backline take on the on DSDR here, but Lost Dead Man using his position, using his eco to pump out more and more units and contribute to the front line. And right now, yeah, it's really pushing Flash back. He's in a little bit of a tricky spot. These tanks have to be very careful not to push too far in. Ooh, loses 2 of those tanks for free. Not perfect here. Janus is eager to fire on that commander. That's exactly the connection they're looking for. And suddenly Flash's commander down to just 44%. Now, he is going to get healed up eventually by these red spots here. They do a great job of healing that commander back up. But for the time being, definitely going to feel a little bit wary about pushing too far forward. Nice little aggression through the middle as well by Jonte. 2201. 22001. Using the thugs, using the aggravators, and using the grunts. It's a perfect composition right there to break through any of these T1 defenses. You get the vision from the light bots, you get the firepower from the thugs, and you get the long-range siege potential from those aggravators. Basically the perfect composition in the early game. The cat looking for a D-gun though. The cat does not have the energy for it. The slider was too far down, didn't have the energy for the D-gun despite being in range. Oh, are we gonna connect it? Don't manage to connect it. Commander go down over here? I don't see Ragnar's commander. Oh, there it is. It's hiding from me. No commander deaths yet. Although Raiko is looking really low. If one of these commanders explodes, it would be a nightmare. All of these commanders would chain react off of each other. That'd be a terrible, terrible trade, of course. You know, trading out a bunch of T1 bots for 3 commander deaths. That's certainly going to be well worth it, and I think Ragnar smells that exactly here. Looking for the kill. Trying to push in as aggressively as possible. Can you out-heal a beamer turret? That's interesting. Ragnar's commander is in range there. Not exactly what you're looking for. I think Ragnar's just taken too many losses. Feels like there's just too much damage that's already been done here. More units are streaming out of this lab, trying to be aggressive on the right-hand side. Well, the northern side. I keep calling this the right and this the left, but anyways. Ragnar's commander will back off. He senses that there's some units coming. Going to be forced to pull out of here. It's a bummer that he didn't have a res bot. I think with 1 or 2 res bots could have easily kept this situation under his control, but at the very least eaten up all the metal that was lying on the floor. Anyways, reinforcements from his teammate here. Jonte has captured this northern high ground, has built a bunch of vehicles, and has pushed through with a whole bunch of units. There's some nice Janus connections right there, but these units are starting to mount a defense, and suddenly it is no longer a 1v3, it's a 3v3, And that is not the engagement that these commanders in the red were looking for. Very, very dangerous, very risky. Flash is now supported by Rise Heaven, who has switched out of any kind of eco and is going instead into full-blown production, trying to get more and more units on the field. But already, has it been too much? I really think so. Yep, Janus is getting some nice connections there. A couple of shell shockers also firing away up into the air. Their little waterfall. Pew, 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 pew. Can't keep your units still for too long, otherwise they will fall. And Janus is getting some nice connections right there. Flash's commander actually in a lot of trouble. Those Januses don't need to shoot all too many times before they melt down a commander. Big run by right here as well, with a couple of medium tanks pushing through, accompanied by some of these Januses, shutting down a lot of that armor that's trying to chase after these with the impulse that's attached to those double heavy warheads. Flash in a lot of trouble now down south. Shuriken will be pulled here to try and deal with this. I don't mind it. Shuriken, of course, one of the better options that you have to clean up some of this early game aggression, some of these medium tanks that take so long to clean up. Eventually, it's not an inefficient trade, but it definitely just takes forever, and that's exactly what those Shuriken are great at, is buying you more and more time. More units pushed up to the front lines, though. Aggravators constantly being produced. Thugs here. I wonder what his production queue is. It's just a 1-to-1 ratio of thugs and aggravators. Ragna's, that is. Oh, I can see the chain react happening already. Raiko goes down. It chain reacts Wes. Chain reacts Ural. 3 commander explosion blows apart the entire front line and all of the army in red here. It's great to have those commanders on the front line for support, but also such a liability, because as soon as they explode, you're going to be in a world of pain. Resba right here now for draw meta, and that is going to be funneling back hundreds and hundreds of metal back to the economy of the green player, who is eventually going to be able to help push the lines here. T2 was eventually handed out, and so Ragna is taking a step back from the front lines to go up to a T2 economy. Production has been halted, and T2 economy is growing. It's definitely what you should be, what you should be aware of, what you should be conscious of. Is yeah, if you have a T2 economy, or basically you're going for any sort of economy, what you ideally want to do is stop producing units and go strictly into economy. That way it's all going to come up a whole lot quicker. It's exactly what we see Ragnar pulling back in the front line. He knows his teammates have his back here, and so they're going to be holding the line, applying enough aggression here to, yeah, keep these units at bay. West now has a couple of hounds that have been handed off, I'm guessing? Yeah, those hounds must have been provided by another player. Oh, no. They are built by a console. Oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah, so we see consoles have been handed out by Raiko. That's very nice. Gonna get some of those hounds in the fight. Those are very, 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 very wonderful units for dealing with a lot of those early T1 bots. And then, of course, the Gunslinger, which you can also make out of the console, is a great option for dealing with any of those vehicles. So the console really is a great answer to any of those T1. It's a T2 answer to any T1 problem. I would love to see Red Panda Torkel take control over these metal extractors, try and plant one more down again. Those have been denied, and it could be a nice little hit of economy here. Everybody going up to T2, and we're only 13 minutes into this game. Very, very quick, these commanders. We're going to set up a Persecutor here. What's the range on this? Okay. It's not bad. It can shoot across the way. It's going to be able to deny this metal extractor at the very least. There is a jammer already up and available for our Hot Pink West. So at the very least, spared from the artillery bombardment. Not perfect, though. Certainly manual fire is one option. Shell shockers dipping in and firing at each other, then backing off. Always funny to watch shell shockers fight each other, because it really is like, all right, fire and move, and fire and move. Here they go again. You cannot keep those units still for all too long, otherwise, yeah, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. This has also been a really nice advantage here. Ural will eventually reclaim this metal extractor, but this one has been churning away for quite some time here. Feeding metal back to Jante, who now has a sizable force of Wolverines up on this hill and is now starting up medium tank production, trying to get as many of these out and available as possible here. Wolverine's very, very viable, but Ural now has a couple of hounds on the field, and those hounds are quite good at chasing down any of those artillery pieces from the T1 catalog. Big armored convoy moving up north here as well from Trims. Our lowest ranked player on the red team at 31 true skill. Just goes to show once more how high skill this game is. Oh, interesting. Ate up the laboratory in favor of a Juno. Going to, I'm guessing, produce that Juno as a means of dealing with the radar jammer that was over there. Nice little EMP bombing run over here is going to shut down this entire army. Everything there just got EMP'd. Shut down basically all of it. Now the Januses are going to fire, but already their screen of infantry has been wiped away. Excuse me. Has been wiped away by now. And it's about as efficient a trade as you can hope for. Your entire opponent being EMP'd. Chisato has now pushed forward with his army. Yeah, nice. Very, very nice. Big EMP right there. Unable to capitalize this on... what a bummer. These players are trying their very best to move around here, but all these units move so slowly. Just not able to jump on top of all these EMP'd units. Maybe a better idea would be to ping before going in for the EMP, but who knows whether that would be heated or not. Hard to say. Rattlesnake was set up over here, and it is in high trajectory mode. It's going to start firing away. It can definitely reach up into this upper layer here, this upper mountain. So that's something to, something to be aware of. Could certainly cause some damage. Couple of fiends trying to get sturdy over here. They did kill a couple of the hounds here for Wes. That's a very expensive army to lose, and I think he's trying to use his commander to reclaim a lot of it. I think that's a great idea. Absolutely necessary, because all of that metal can be turned back into T2 units, right? T2 units or T2 economy. Either one works. Exactly what Ragna has in mind. You can see this Persecutor now firing away, starting to whittle away at Wes's commander of all things. Yeah, not bad. Oh, yeah, well. It's very difficult to EMP a commander, but it is technically possible, so I guess I don't mind it. Not a pristine target, a premier target, but certainly a target nonetheless. Banishers firing from so far away. The Banisher missile is, I mean, devastating to, well, anything in general, but devastating to commanders especially. Doesn't take all too many of those to whittle down a commander into sheer pieces. Is it 30%-ish? Looks like maybe like 28% or so per hit there from the Banishers. That is very punishing. Now, despite the commander going down, all that reclaim is going back to the red team here eventually. Well, that being said, actually the Tigers do manage to deny some of that reclaim. Oh, EMP bombers do come in for a massive bombing run right there. Tigers are going to jump all over this T1 army, and that is a huge, huge hit right there. Going back in for seconds, I do believe. Yep. Nicely done. All of that army being EMP'd means you're going to get a massively positive trade right there. Very, very nice air support. Very, very key. Shutting down exactly the units that need to be shut down, and that is so, so potent. Missile trucks right here need to be avoided. It was a good move, detecting that there were missile trucks over there and realizing that you can't fly the EMP bombers in there. I mean, you could try, but you're going to lose them. They're an expensive asset to lose. You definitely don't want to. Going for a nuclear bomber of all things, interesting. It's a very expensive investment, but not the most expensive, right? Not the end of the world. Juno missile has been fired, and it got rid of all of the jammer and radar presence over on this side. Persecutor will be able to start whittling away here, but honestly not very much within range of that cannon, so I'm not sure if that static defense was well worth it. Whoa, well, I looked away. The forces down south for the blue team have completely crushed Flash's defenses. Everything down south is caved here, and now that is going to be our red team leader wiped out of the match here. What an excellent concerted push between all of the blue players here. We've got forces from Red Panda Torkel, we've got forces from Sensible Insane, we've got forces from Lost Deadman, and we've got, of course, the air support from Preteric, all of which combines to be a very effective pushing force. Leaving the northern player Trims all on his own here, just to watch his teammate die. A tragedy, to say the very least. Janus is committing a little bit of friendly fire there, but all said and done, not too bad. Gunslinger was produced. Gunslingers, I suppose. Well, now just down to gunslinger singular. Hounds here are really the firepower, though. The pawns are great. The pawns do actually allow you to jump on top of all this And actually, yeah, the more I look at this, the more I really do appreciate those pawns being in this composition. Oh, little nuclear bomber snipe right here on 200 IQ Ural. Luckily he manages to walk away from that with, well, just 13% health to his name. I feel like these hounds might be making short work of that commander here eventually, but in the meantime, it's definitely quite scary. Nuclear bomber will take out the bot lab, or the vehicle lab rather. It's going to turn its ugly head and start heading towards anything in the backline that it can. This bomber finding as precious a target as it possibly can to blow out of existence. It's looking for it. It's going to go after the vehicle lab. Oh, not going to get it though. Those Nighthawks do manage to shoot it down. The fighters here, the high winds, were slacking on the job, and so that nuclear bomber will be shut down, sparing the laboratory here for Rise Heaven. But all said and done, that is now 1, 2, 3-ish players knocked out of the game, and I'm gonna go ahead and say that the blue team has a tremendous advantage at this point. Arbiters here now besieging everything. Wow, that was a heavy hit on that commander. Got caught standing still, and that means that that commander is going to take a brutal amount of punishment here. Arbiters are so powerful for besieging these positions like this. Absolutely critical to making sure that your Cortex siege is pushing in at a swift enough pace here. Spybot, of course, included for the vision, allowing those arbiters to fire away at their maximum potential. You can see those arbiters can fire away for quite a lot of potential. There's a lot of range underneath the arbiter's belt here. The eco player Ryko is now forced to produce units as quickly and as, well, massively as possible here. Already, all of his frontline players have fallen, though, while the blue team's frontline players do remain in the game, meaning that metal extractors all over the place are going to be pumping out metal for the blue team and not for the red team. And we can see that reflected in the economies up in the northeastern corner of your screen. The top right, in other words, as we see that it's about 400 metal per second for the blue, opposed to only about 250 for the red. Commander right there will go down for trims. EMP bombers trying to shut down these lightning tanks. Now the lightning tanks do have a light anti-air missile, but you can see against the T2 it really is just a pea shooter. Not a whole lot of substance to it. Yep, Arbiter's firing away. Lovely little spybot position here by Ragna. Giving him all the vision he needs to know exactly where that commander is. Oh, little cloaked unit collision right there. Spy tank will be discovered, and yeah, that will, at least for the time being, shut that down. Oh, he almost got the kill right there. Very, very close. Is there another? There is another spy bot, so that's quite nice. Secondary spy bot, backup spy bot will be included. Panda Torkoal with a great push down south here, eating up all these metal extractors, turning them into blue metal makers. That's going to be a tremendous boon to the economy here for the blue team. Yeah, that's very, very nice. Pulsars are out. The ticks going to be dealt with by the Jaguars. The Pulsar is great for shutting down basically everything else. Although they seem more interested in the ticks. They will be jumped on top of by a whole bunch of hounds, a whole bunch of blitzes, a whole bunch of all these siege units that are perfect for shutting down these slow-moving besiegement engines. That is going to be all she wrote for those very, very expensive mobile tachyon platforms that are now reduced to wreckages and wastes littering the battlefield. Ragnar does have a T2 lab up. Does have a second Persecutor coming up here. Oh, but it looks like the red team will decide that after all that aggression, that is all that they can bear. Tapping out of this game, realizing that there's just no way to come back at this point now that there's such a tremendous economic lead. Excellent air support from Predarik back here. Wonderful frontline engagements from Ragna, showing us exactly how to do concerted pushes on the southern line from the blue team. All said and done, just a wonderful series all around. Do hope you enjoyed. If you did, you can always show me that by hitting the like button down below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next daily Beyond All Reason video. Peace out, everybody.